Conversations with leading experts in enterprise resource planning. Evolving ERP. Powered by Insight Jam.
Hello and welcome back to Evolving ERP. We're back once again with not one, but two returning guests. But first, as always, I'm your host, Ryan Daly. And before we get started, hey, come on, you know it's YouTube. So come on, and click the things, click them, do it, the bell, the thumb. You like it, right? Come on, subscribe. You want to get to know all of the content we have on this channel. And now that you've done that, you're in the Inside Jam ecosphere. Without any further ado, welcome back to returning champions. We've got Judith O'Callahan and Sana Asher coming back to the arena. Last time we talked a lot of phase 0. And this time we're getting into SAP. We're talking SAP implementations. Why do they fail sometimes? Why do they succeed? Maybe less of the time. Hopefully more of the time in the future. That's why you're here. Right. And Sana, I know you have an interesting project coming up that segues with this very nicely.
Yes.
Why don't you take this opportunity to tease it a little bit? We'll get into it more later. But what have you got for the people?
An upcoming SAP community and a way to upskill. So 2 little nuggets, but Judith's going to go a
Okay.
lot more into it. So
Indeed, she will. I have no doubt. So you know what? What do I even have to do anymore? Let's get to it. I'm going to turn it over to Judith and Sana right now so you can get into it and let the people know what this is all about.
thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. So, Sana, here we are. We've been looking forward to this. So, let's get it started. So, talking about our ecosystem, it's wonderful, right? So, it's like we've got many clients who are looking to move to S/4HANA and all the beautiful things that is coming there. So, what we also see in the ecosystem is that not all clients or not many clients are ready to make the shift, or those who are ready, who think they are ready, they are on the fence. So, in our opinion, what do you think is going on in the industry?
Ooh. Great question as always, Judith. And I'm so excited to be back here. So thank you for having me. I think there's a bunch of things that are going on, and you and I are seeing it on a daily basis, in the fields as we're talking to so many clients. So the very first thing I think is the entire geopolitical instability that is happening globally. So I know a lot of people want to talk about it, but at the very same time don't want to talk about it. But that is a real thing. Plus, the entire trade wars, as we're calling it, that is also playing a big role. I actually spoke to a client firsthand who had stalled their SAP go live for 2 months because they were not even sure if they were going to have a company left. So that's really happening. The third thing that's happening is the legacy ECC professionals getting upskilled to be onto the S/4HANA transformation projects. There's not too many of them. And, the ones who are there don't know how to run the new projects. So that's another challenge. And I think the fourth thing, in my opinion, Judith, which is actually happening, is that there is just too much noise. Too much noise by the software vendors, too much noise by the systems integrators, too much noise, by the market in general. And no one is able to take a step back and say, wait, what are we trying to accomplish? And here is where people like you and I shine, because we come in completely unbiased, completely leaning towards one partner, one, vendor, or we're not pitching each other. And we come in and give the client a very real view of what is happening. So these are some of the big shifts that are happening in the SAP ecosystem, where I'm seeing where clients are kind of like, oh, what do I do? Do I kind of like go forward, or do I hold back? And it's just
Yeah.
a very interesting time.
And and Sana, one thing that is very interesting for all of us is that previously it was okay to outsource risk and
Yes.
ownership, in the sense like if you want something done, let's say an upgrade project or something done, hire your favorite SI or get the incumbent to do it, and it was seen as an IT project. And overall, we've seen also transformation failures because of that mindset.
Right.
Because this is a massive transformation, right? So it's like you need to work with the right person, the right partner, the right team around you. So when talking about this, there are not every firm's fit everyone. So big firms have a role to play. Let's not miss that they do have a role to play in the society or the ecosystem that we are playing. And also, like for the smaller, nimble advisory firms or upcoming tech firms who super specialize on certain things, they have a role to play as well. So putting both on side by side, what how do we see the role of the big firms and the role of advisory, and also the role of other super specialist firm playing in this space, and what's the advantage for the client because of that?
So I think number one, Judith, it is that the mindset is changing, that it's not a upgrade. You're not going in and doing a upgrade, so to speak, right? You are going in to do a business transformation. SAP S4HANA is not about saying, I'm just going to flip the switch. I'll do a greenfield or I'll do a brownfield and I'll be done and over with, right? And you and I both laughed at this so many times saying, guys, seriously, there is no greenfield, brownfield. You need to look at how your business has changed since you implemented ECC 15 years ago. Guaranteed, life has changed, the business has changed. So, S4HANA is truly not just a migration, it is a transformation. Many clients are very, very scared with the word transformation. They just start thinking, oh my God, now I'm going to have
What's
to
the
sit
T
back.
word, right? Yay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? I have to do everything. Yeah, you have to. You know why? Because this is the only time you have where you can set the tone for the next decade of your organization. You are on the brink of either you are going to fly really, really high or you are going to crash and burn. That's kind of exactly where you are. So you better make that call very, very wisely, right? And to your point, how do people fit into the ecosystem? So many of our friends, these large systems integrators, you work for them, I worked for them. I think their strength is the muscle power that they bring in, right? I have lots of people. Fantastic. You need people. But I think where they fail is that they can't take one side over the other. They are very well partnered and connected with the vendors, with the software, assets, and they can't take a side. So at that point, absolutely, you have to work with your, systems integrator. You have to work with the partner of choice, but work with smaller, nimble agencies or nimble consulting companies because they can come in, they can only come in to be that advisor who speaks nothing but the truth and will keep everyone in check, right? The other thing that has also kind of evolved, Judith, in the last 2 years, and I've seen this happening firsthand, and so have you, there is a tremendous influx of AI and the way it is shaping the course on these transformations. There is now an opportunity to really bring in absolutely unknown tools, but they are going to give you that rocket booster, that lift that you need, right?
And
To say, oh my God, and now I don't have to wait to see my S4 HANA system in 1 year. I can see my S4 HANA system in 12 weeks, 18 weeks, 24 weeks. So there's
mm,
so much has changed in this ecosystem. And
mm.
you and I have been privy to, we see it firsthand. So I think that is some of the things a lot of our clients need to keep in mind. And that's kind of where I see the chips falling.
Yeah, and you make a very good point, right? So there is a role for advisory firms here to play, because one thing is to keep everyone involved aligned. So
Yes.
that is something in many transformation programs it is missed. And most of the programs that you and I get called to rescue is because when we go back and see, has there been an advisory firm or has there been an alignment? And most of the time the answer is no. And this is a simple thing a client can do, a
Correct.
12-week advisory or a 24-week advisory or something in between, where the advisory firm has an opportunity to look at the basic things, and with their eyes, with their mindset and the framework, gives a lot more insights. And the other thing that you mentioned is the having the ability to visualize an S4HANA system in your own environment. It's not a demo environment, it's your data, your configuration, your everything in S4. Touch it, feel it, see it, and see if
Yes.
that works for you. We did not have that technology before. And that power of AI and everything else in the technology, machine learning, and everything that has happened over decades has enabled us to be able to enjoy this benefit. So now that it's there, enjoy it. So if you're investing on AI, and if you're a CIO, CFO, who and the seniors, someone in the senior suite, investing on AI and to see what you can do with the organization, and you have S4, this is your opportunity. Invest in a version 0 or a digital twin that can help you visualize what your organization will be in S4HANA and choose the right solution for you. What better way to choose it, right? That's the best way to get the engagement. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now,
So well said.
yeah, sorry for deviating from the track. So let's go back to our favorite ones, right? So now when we think about the tools and the frameworks. So we're talking about it general in the industry, ERP industry. There is a lot of noise, let's acknowledge that. But on the other hand, on the positive side, the industry has developed and matured over time. So there is enough tools and frameworks, and there is enough capital behind everything and the enough IP behind everything to be able to support that. So, in your opinion, Sana, from what you and I have seen,
Mm.
what are the frameworks that we can adopt to make sure things don't fail? So, our objective is to increase the transformation success, and this is one of the ways we can do it.
Absolutely. No, that's a great question, Judith. And I think the frameworks are in a combination with the tools. So definitely, I really, really urge, everyone who's going to be tuning in, listening to you and I talk, is please explore the tools. Definitely don't make a decision on going at it alone. There is many, many tools out there today. Like, we talked about a little bit earlier, that can show you your S4HANA transformation, touch it, feel it, look at it, right? Plus the frameworks, right? So the best practices, some of the best practices which have been used over the last so many years are now actually getting modeled into AI tools, right? So there's so much opportunity. Like there are some clients, I mean, some tools that I work with who are assurance services. There is a tool that I work with that focuses completely on data. And you and I both know, Judith, what a big deal data is, right? And, when you're doing a transformation. So there is so many opportunities to kind of cut and slice your entire transformation and not go, oh my God, I now have to climb the mountain. How am I going to do it? You can just chip at it one topic at a time and you'll be okay. And you can still do a phased approach, right? And at every given time, you are dealing with real time data. You are looking at your S4 HANA system in real time. It's not like, oh, I'm going to come in today. I'll do a conference room pilot. I'll do an as is and I'll see you a year later. It's none of that. That ship has sailed long ago. That is not how transformations are happening today.
And we know that those ones had not worked back then as well, and it's not going to work now. So,
Exactly.
and the important thing that you bring to the table is beautiful, right? So it's like we are working with a different type of workforce, and
Yes.
our expectations have changed. Like even from the tools that we use, our mobile phones. When we look at it, 20 years back, most of us didn't have it, and those of us who had it had very different style of mobile phones, and now
Yes.
look at what we do with our phones. So there is so much things we can do.
Yep.
So same with the technology. Our expectation, the workforce expectation on technology needs to work as well. So how do you engage them and how do you keep them happy? So back to this story of let's do an assess and come back and see you
Yeah.
later. There are different frameworks where you do it, where as a client you're always on the driver's seat in in the outcome, and you're engaged and you're working on it with the partner, with the SI, with the advisory firm, and with the right assurance. So you have the tribe around you to make sure you succeed. So the quality of the implementation, or the quality of your transformation, and quality of your organization, I would say, I would even go further and say, depends on the quality of the tribe and those who you choose to surround yourself with. So
How
they are
true.
the ones who can actually take you further.
Yep. Only if you're willing to be open, right, Judith? That's
Yeah,
that's the only
absolutely.
criteria.
Yeah. And again, if on the other hand, we've also seen those who have been through the traditional route, And they are realizing now. So it's like the company that you and I are talking about, like after 3 years of going through this big merry-go-round or a roundabout, they come to us and go, what do we do? Or what can we do
Yep.
differently? And in that case, as we talk about it, it's extremely difficult and time consuming to reset. So it's better to set up right,
Yes.
take your time, and do not get into a transformation before you're ready. Make sure you've got the tribe around you. Make sure the frameworks is something that is going to work for you and work with you, and your workforce is engaged, your transformation leaders are engaged, and your leadership is engaged. And if you do not have the leadership buy-in and the engagement, Sana and I can put our hand in our heart and say you're not going to make it. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would like to add one more thing to your
yeah,
list, Judith, because I think you outlined all of the right things. I think the ability to see the truth and seek the truth. Don't be afraid, right? Unless and until you are not ready to be completely bare and open with who you are and where you are trying to go, you'll never make it. So, as you said, right, you have to be very, very open and say, yep, I'm ready. I'm going under a knife of a skilled surgeon, right? Do you trust that surgeon? Absolutely. I think it's exactly that. So, transformations are not easy. And like you said, putting a hand on our heart, they're not going to make it if there is all these things not involved.
yeah, and that is and that is again, words of wisdom from us. So one thing that we have seen, the other thing that we have seen is the power of skilled team.
Yes.
So it's the people who make the transformation. End of the day. So
Yes.
let's talk about it. When we
Okay.
created the masterclass program, our intent was to increase the transformation success,
Yes.
and it has evolved, and the thank you to everyone in the industry. It is something bigger and much more powerful than all of us, and it is I would say changing the way we look at transformation and how people can equip themselves.
Want more Insight Jam? Subscribe to our YouTube channel for shorts, panels, podcasts, and more. In your Shorts feed, enjoy a daily dose of best practices from tech experts and leading solution providers, while long-form panel discussions and keynotes, recorded live every quarter, go deep on important industry topics. And don't miss our collection of regular podcasts, keeping you informed on the latest trends. We're hard at work collecting the best enterprise technology information from around the globe, so subscribe to be notified of our next upload. Now, let's get back to the show.
So let's talk about your story, Sana, and what led us to this point.
Okay. Let's do that. Thank you, Judith. So, as you know, I've spent over 3 decades in the SAP ecosystem, right? And what I saw consistently is the pressure to perform at every single level, much more at a leadership level as opposed to a consultant level. But there was pressure all around, right? There was no support system in place that said, hey, you know what? We know you're going through the pressure, but we are here. Let us help. You can release some of the steam. No one had anybody's back. Everybody was just like, you're on your own. Have a good life. See you later. Right. So when I saw that, and I had the opportunity of becoming an entrepreneur, Judith, a year and a half ago, and I said, you know what? So what if I didn't have this? It's time to change the narrative. Let me build what I didn't have. So I came up with this idea of building the SAP community, and you've done a phenomenal job in helping me with that. So thank you. So that's how I started. And then as I was building the community and I was having all these conversations with, with so many fellow colleagues, it I came to realize that there is this huge shift that is happening in the SAP world where information is flowing to us so rapidly, so continuously, that we're having a hard time keeping up. Like I can't keep up, right? I mean, if I flip the news on the SAP channel today, I'll hear something today, and then tomorrow it's like, oh, it's a different thing. I'm like, wait, what? I just heard this yesterday. So imagine that if we can't keep up, right? Imagine people who've been there for 18 years, 15 years, 12 years, 50, what do they do? So, and they were getting into projects, they were getting into S/4HANA transformations, they were getting into these cloud environments, Rise with SAP projects, and they were struggling. And as a result of that, those projects were getting stalled or shelved because these people did not know the basics of how to run a Rise program or what were the questions that they needed to ask, right? So I said, oh my God, this is an opportunity to truly upscale all of these folks and bring them to that level so that they can create successful transformations, right? And that's how the masterclass has evolved. And today we're doing a number of topics. We're doing a topic on project management, we're doing change management, we're doing enterprise architecture, and of course, we're talking about how to do an effective implementation in China on an instant strategy. And all of these things truly didn't come just from the air. They actually came
Okay.
from experience, right? People calling us
Yeah.
and saying, I'm struggling with my RISE project. What do I do? And we're like, wait, we know we've done this. We can help. So,
So let's talk about the favorite, right? So mine is the leadership program. So that
yes,
is that is being available. So as an organization, if the leadership team is not ready, the transformation is not likely to succeed. So
correct.
many have gone down that path, and there is enough statistics to prove it. So, one thing that any organization can do is to train the leadership team to make
Yes.
sure they are ready. So, it's like an orientation before getting on a ship, or orientation before getting on a, let's say, a beautiful Antarctic, life changing Antarctic voyage or something. So it's something simple that we can do. So Asana, with the leadership one, we have designed it with leaders in the industry, including Bernie Kelly, Nick Jackson, and many others.
Yes.
So, what are some of the things you think the leaders are taking away from that leadership program?
That's a fantastic question, Judith. I was just actually going to say, and we have the leadership class, and you just read my mind and you said it's a perfect timing. So I am so grateful, Judith, that between yourself, Nick, Bernie, so many others, Veronica, all of you guys came together and truly helped us create this masterclass. And I think it's just like anything else, right? You're taking your first voyage or you're taking your second trip, on a cruise. Do you know all the answers? No, you don't. So what do? You talk to people who've done it before, right? So why can't you do the very same thing in a transformation? Why does your ego have to come in? Why does it have to come in? Oh, I'm the leader. I'm supposed to know everything. No, you're not supposed to know everything. Right? There are people around you who can help. And that's the exact reason I created the masterclass with that intention, Judith, that there should be a safe space for leadership teams to come in and be completely, bare their heart and say, okay, what am I missing? What
Mm,
do I need to know as a person, number one, as a
mm,
leader, number two, and number three, from a technology perspective, to ensure that I don't become another statistic in that 84% failed project? What
yeah.
do I need to do? And that is what this leadership class teaches these leaders to be completely ready to ask the hard questions. But while asking the hard questions, lead with your heart. Don't just lead because you have to or because this is your last rodeo. And oh, by the way, who cares? This is my last stint or my second last stint and I'm going to leave. No, you know what? Lead from your heart, lead with empathy, lead with a tribe behind you, knowing that we have your interest at heart. And that's what we want for you.
And leave a legacy. Like, as
Leave a legacy.
leadership team,
Yes.
every transformation program, we keep saying that to the leaders. You
Yes.
have an opportunity to change the way things are. So, and leave a legacy. Be that
So
one.
true.
And you
Yes.
have that opportunity. So now let's talk about the project managers, right? So this is my favorite because project managers, program directors, they are the captains of the ship who
Correct.
we are trusting our programs with. So question number one is, are there anything in the world to make people ready? Yes, the answer is yes. There are many frameworks, many MSP, PMP, and PGMP, so many things. And most project managers at that level and most program directors at that level do have these certifications. Let's acknowledge that. And what we are trying to do here is to give that extra edge on the how to run a RISE program or a GROW program for that matter, something very specific and intricate. So, I know you explain it so well. So let's talk about, things to be aware of by moving to the cloud to everything else. So, what do you think, or how do you think the PM1 is making a difference?
So I think the very, very first thing is when project managers or program managers, program directors are looking at these programs, which are called Rise with SAP or Grow with SAP. I don't think there is a manual, Judith, that they are reading and they're coming into it, right? In their mind, they are thinking it's a waterfall or an activate methodology, and we're going to go implement it. No, absolutely not. There are so many nuances in these projects, and believe me, when I did the first Rise program in 2021, I myself took a lot of time to learn it. I'm going, oh my God, how the hell are we ever going to figure
Mm.
this one out? Right. And I think the edge that we're offering to all these people is our own lived experiences. So we've lived this with the clients, with SAP. We've told them what to do, how to navigate it. Right. And you can't get that in a certification. Of course, you
Oh,
can get
yes.
certified and activated 100%. But coming to a project management masterclass, number one, you're going to get the lived experience. Number two, you're going to figure out those tiny nuances that no one talks about, right? And the third thing, which is the most important, which for me, and I know it's for you, is the community, is to
Yes.
be able to go back and say, you know what, I started on the project. I really have a handle, but I don't know what is step one. Can someone help me? Absolutely. So you didn't have that, Judith. I didn't have
Oh,
that.
no.
And that's what we want to
That's
offer to these program managers and project managers to say, hey, guys, we are here. You're not
and
alone.
and
You don't ever
and
do this
that's exactly, and that is what drove us, that's what it was the desire, right? So create a community that supports each other, especially in bad times. So it's
correct.
like not every program is going to go well all the time. Like we can all
Exactly.
put our hand in the heart and say, You will go through difficult times." So, as a PM, as a leader, as a organization, there will be tough times. It is not always green. So if it is always green, you're going to be one of those 84% or the 85% statistic. That's great. But if you're not green, that is normal. That is okay.
Correct.
And the question is, who is with you to guide you through the tough times, and who has got your back? So everyone needs a tribe who has their back when things are not easy. And this is the tribe that we are working on creating and equipping the leaders of the future. So these are the captains of the ship, the program directors, the project managers. Let's equip them with the best information that we have, and let's support them with the right information possible, especially as they navigate the storm, because thousands and millions of dollars are held up on these implementations. So we
Absolutely.
want to make a difference. Okay, so talking about this, the most, I would say, highly forgotten thing is the change management.
Oh God,
So,
yes.
yes. So Wayne Holtham, a wonderful colleague, and us, we've created this masterpiece. So, Sana, from your perspective, what is the difference in this change management when compared to many of the change certifications around?
Absolutely. So I think Wayne has done a phenomenal job, Judith, of course, with your guidance on creating this amazing masterclass that is focused on strategy and the newer cloud deployment models, right? You and I both know that change management is the very first thing that gets scratched off from any program. Oh, we're over budget, just scratch it off, right? But I think the way we are redefining change management is we're not saying, hey, come to us towards the end when you're ready for doing UAT and we'll give you change management. We're not saying that. We're saying be a part of the program or ingrain yourself in the program from the beginning. That is the change manager that you need to be, and redefine that change in terms of, the cloud models, in terms of roles, in terms of responsibilities. Because, yep, the technology works, but is it different? Absolutely. And how do you map that difference? You need to understand that.
And the other thing that I really like about is the change landmines.
Yes.
So these are the landmines that blow up and contribute to the statistics, right? So the program also touches how to navigate or identify those landmines and navigate them. So, if you're a change manager with a lot of experience and you want to be on making a difference in the SAP world, that course may be for you. So, check us out. And especially with Wayne, the FaceTime with Wayne for that masterclass time, in my opinion, it's precious. I have spent a lot of time working with Wayne in many different circumstances. And some of the things that Wayne's able to achieve is tremendous, like
Mm.
unearthing $1 billion from out of nowhere. So that's a
Wow.
story for a different day. So
Yes.
Yeah. And now thinking about the enterprise architecture. So there's a lot of enterprise architects. It's one of those interesting ones.
Mm.
And how do we make sure the the right enterprise architects are making the difference in the SAP transformation program? So that's where the intent comes from. So I'd probably hear more from you, Sana, because there is a lot of effort that went into that.
Absolutely, yes. So, Judith, I think the fundamental difference that I have seen in a enterprise architect across, like from my ECC days or 4.7 days, is that they were just coming in to understand the business, and they would map it, and they'd be like, okay, let's call it a day, right? But now, look at the situation we're in. You could be on one entity where one piece of that entity is on the cloud, the other one is on prem. They're now doing a merger and acquisition of a completely different software or operating system. We don't know. Now, not only do you have to understand the business of what that organization does, but also be able to translate that into a cloud environment or into a future ready landscape. The Enterprise Architecture Masterclass talks specifically about the pitfalls, the practices, the best practices, and what is needed, right? When you start getting into these enterprise architecture transformation programs. So you're just not a technologist saying, okay, I'm just going to map a solution, technical, functional, we're done. You're now mapping business outcomes. You are now mapping, understanding of different deployment models. So to get all that, and of course the lived experience, right? So our colleague Rahul Bhatia, who's been around for a long, long time, he talks about his lived experience on his clients and how they've overcome so many challenges. So that's what the Enterprise Architecture Masterclass brings to life.
And yeah, and I love that flavor of it, right? So there's what I personally like about is this: how can you make a difference as an individual, as an enterprise architect? Whether you're aspiring or you're experienced, there are roles that any enterprise architect can play in the life of a transformation program that actually changes the trajectory. So maybe this is one, and the the one that is close to my heart is China.
Okay.
Most companies operate
Yep.
in China, and China, as we know, is a beast to work
Yes, it
with.
is.
And
Yes,
we
it
have
is.
to accept the beast, respect the beast, and work with the beast. So let's talk about the intricacies that led us to this golden tax and having a separate system for invoicing and having so many intricacies. So as a program director, if you are working in an organization which has China as an entity, or China which has a China entity, then you add at least 2 years to your SAP implementation or SAP transformation timeline. And that is what you will discover if you do not have the knowledge. Okay, so now Sana, you and Nick have done this
Yes.
so many times. So now walk us through this.
Absolutely. So, Judith, this masterclass is the result of Nick and I going through these global implementations, right, together. Obviously, we talked about we all know about the global template. We all know about how to implement that, right? Many countries, but there are certain countries that completely stand out: Brazil, India, and the most difficult one, of course, is China. And Nick personally, through his own lived experience, went through close to a year and a half of struggles before he was able to figure out how to do an instant strategy. And when Nick and I were talking, and we were talking about exchanging notes in Brazil and India, and China came up, and he's like, "Oh my God, Sana, I wish I could tell people how to do this easily. How there's so many nuances into this implementation." I said, "Nick, you know what? Why don't you? Why don't you teach people what they're missing?" And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Absolutely. Let's do a masterclass." And that's how, Judith, the masterclass idea came up. And Nick is amazing. He talks about his lived experience. And he truly, I think, not only lost a lot of weight, but lost a lot of hair trying to figure out exactly how to get to this whole instant strategy, because his CEO said to him, "How do we do IP protection?" And Nick
Hmm.
started scratching his head saying, "I have no idea." So that's the conversation starter, that how do I protect IP, which turned into doing a complete separate instance in China. And then so many steps in between. So yeah, I mean, I gave you a lot more,
Mm.
but that's exactly kind of where it came from.
One of the things that actually surprised me when we were going through the class was that at any point in time, a China system can be audited,
Oh,
and the
yes,
data, yes. So, and also the data can never leave China.
correct.
How are we going to manage that and work with that? And especially when we have global organization and with global supply chains and interruptions and everything else, and China being a hub, how do we do that? Like, with all these rules, you go as a, as a senior leader in the organization, how do I even consider an SAP transformation at this point in time in China? So
Yeah.
that is
Or
the
what do I
answer.
even know, right?
Mm.
What am I missing?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't even know what I don't know. So how
yeah,
do I even ask the question, or what do I need to know? Like,
yeah.
where do I even start? Right?
Where do I
That's,
even start?
yeah,
And it's like, who do I call? So
yep,
if I know the question, then you know probably who to call or where to get
exactly.
the information. But if you don't know where even to ask the question,
Yes,
that's in a very different place.
it is. Absolutely. It's a crazy one. Yep.
And this brings us nicely to the upcoming things that we are working on, Sana. So, like the setting up the PMOs right for success.
Yes.
So, the supporting team and the BTP class. So, let's drill down into the PMO one.
Sure.
So, what's the story behind it?
Okay. So the PMO one is an interesting one, right? The gentleman who is been in the PMO ecosystem for, I want to say, maybe 20 plus years. And he and I were talking, and I said to him, I said, it's very interesting. PMO has got a hit or miss reputation. He goes, what do you mean by that? I said, either you love a PMO or you just hate a PMO. He goes, why do you say that? I said, because no one really knows what the hell a PMO does. And he goes, no, that's not true. And that's how we started talking. And he's like, you know what? Just like you feel, there must be so many other people who feel this way. So let's teach people what a PMO actually is. They are more of a
Mm.
strategic and a value added partner in your organization to drive your own strategy and your own vision. I'm like, interesting. So that's how we put that PMO masterclass together. And that's launching in September. So definitely stay tuned for that. And the other one, like you touched upon, was BTP. I get many, many, many DMs, Judith, about how to implement BTP. Okay. And rightly so, I have called that class Demystifying BTP because it really is demystifying. Like, okay, where do you start? What do you put in? How do you do BTP pricing? What does a contract look like? There was like so much you have to learn. And I found this amazing gentleman who currently works for SAP, and he is an SAP, enterprise architect who does only BTP. And I said, you know what? Why don't we teach people what the hell is really BTP, and let's help the ecosystem. So here we are, and that class also launches in September.
So, one thing, going back to the PMO, right? So the
Yeah,
PMO is a tribe.
it
So
is.
tribe of
Yes,
people who is helping guide the projects. And if you're a leadership team member thinking about how does a PMO going to help me, think about this. At any point in time in a transformation program, you're likely to run 5 to 6 projects simultaneously.
correct.
So working to make sure all these projects are in sync. How is that going to happen? You need a machine like a PMO behind the scenes. It's a well oiled machine that keeps it going. So at any point in time, you have leakage on funds, you have leakage on many, many things,
Hmm.
resources, and so many other things. And if you do not have that strategy on how you're going to manage multiple projects or programs, you won't make it. This is one of those things. So if you're thinking about whether should I or should I not have a PMO, come to the class and make a decision for yourself. Because in many
Absolutely.
cases, I say, yes, I may need it. And in some cases, you may say, no, for this reason, I've chosen not to go down that path, but I'm having that expertise somewhere else.
Yeah,
So,
or even
yeah,
get your PMO office to say, okay, at least be intelligent enough to ask them the questions. Are you doing all of these things?
it's exactly as you say, right? So having equip yourself with the right questions to ask.
Exactly.
So you can guide your team with the right answers. So that is the most important gift that we are giving to everyone in the ecosystem, equipping themselves with the information or equipping themselves with the questions to ask. So with the BTP one, the demystifying it, it has been an eye opener because one thing we all do not get in the ecosystem is BTP is just not a customization. It comes
Correct.
with a whole bunch of ecosystem that you need behind to do a BTP. Because I've seen this spoken many, many times. For every customization, the answer has been BTP. Yes,
Correct.
probably it is, but then it also adds so much to your bill. So this
Yeah.
is like, adding extras to your child's education. Yes, a dance class is going to cost you, a martial arts class is going to cost you. You'll have to, build an ecosystem around it to be able to support you. Know what
Correct.
it is before getting into it so you can
Right.
advise the organizations right.
Absolutely. And also the question, right? Do you need a dance class and a martial arts class at the same time? Maybe the answer could be, hey, you know what? Start with the dance class and maybe in 3 months, start a martial arts class. You don't have to do it at the same time, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
so many things
And
to
how are you going
consider.
to do the typical challenge to figure out, right? How are you going to go to the grading and also your uh,
Right.
whatever that certifications at the same time? So be very mindful of what you're getting
Yes.
into. So BTP is one of those demystifying things. It's a beautiful equipping masterclass that that personally we would recommend to everyone. So
Absolutely.
yeah, with this one, I believe, Sana, the community has so much to gain just by being a part of the tribe.
I
Whether
can't agree more. I can't agree more, Judith. You're so right about that. They really do.
yeah, so whether the masterclass helps you or not, the tribe is going to be there with you all the time as you take the journey.
Absolutely. So true.
Unlock better leads through Solutions Review events.
Welcome to Data Demo Day. Expert Roundtable, Solution Spotlight featuring Monte Carlo, Cohesity, Denodo, Cloudflare, High Gear, Broadcom, Next Thing.
Boost your brand with a webinar that shares comprehensive use cases, real-time product demos, and an interactive Q&A. All broadcast live to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Zoom from our Boston studio, or even on location. Fill your sales funnel with high-quality targeted leads. And contact us today by visiting solutionsreview.com/virtual events.
Every time you come on, Judith, I always love how you emphasize, I think more than anybody else who we've ever featured on the Inside Jam channel, the human element of technology and how important it is. I mean, that is what we're trying to do. Our mission for Inside Jam is to bolster the human conversation around, especially as so many people fear their livelihoods and their humanity being stripped away potentially by, things like AI. You hold the mirror up to it and emphasize that humanity and demonstrate how important it is. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. And
I love hearing it every time. And there's you and Sana going into all the different, there's always new facets to explore.
thank you.
It's not a one and done conversation
Yeah.
by any means.
No, not at
yeah.
all. Absolutely not. Yep.
So say that somebody listened to this and watched it, and I'm willing to bet that that's true. You've talked a lot about Masterclass here, this Masterclass. Where should people go to look for it? Where to go?
Great question. So on LinkedIn, we have a page, Masterclass with SAP, or you can just go to masterclasswithsap.com and you'll get, all the answers. Or go up to Judith's profile on LinkedIn or my profile on LinkedIn and you will see it also. So whichever way.
We'll have all those links down below, and you know what? A special treat, we'll even have a link right up there
Yes.
for you. Judith, Sana, is there anything else while we're on the subject of plugs that you want people to go and seek out, to find, to learn more?
I would say-
I think Judith, no, go ahead, Judith. You go ahead first, please. No.
I would say work on being a part of a community that has got your back. So that's priceless.
There you go. No click necessary, although it might help
Well said.
depending on what kind of community you're searching out. But whether it's something on LinkedIn, whether it's Masterclass, or go down the road and talk to your neighbors. Community.
That too. That'll help too. And I think to what Judith is saying, Ryan, I definitely would like to add, definitely find that SAP community that has your back. I think in the SAP ecosystem, there's been a tremendous amount of pressure over the years, continues to be, for driving margins, driving revenues, driving successful project outcomes. But all of that is only possible when you lead with your heart and your spirit and your mind. So don't let that get to you. Have a system where you can release that pressure. You can fall back on people. And we are those people, Judith and I, who are creating that tribe. And we truly just are not saying it for words. We truly, truly mean that on a daily basis. Ryan, I probably answer about 100 DMs of people reaching out. I'm sure Judith does the same of what do I do? Where do I go? How can I get help? And it just breaks my heart to see that there is no way to help these people. So if anyone is tuning in, please be a part of the collective. That's what we're asking.
That's right. Get in touch. Be that 101st of the day.
Yes.
Yes.
And when they're send those messages, yes, it all starts with you got to make the first move. So, if you're scared, don't be.
Don't be.
Judith and Sana are very, very inviting and willing to talk to you. And you might be feeling frustrated around your SAP implementation. As I've learned in doing this show, it can be a very frustrating thing. News to me was I hadn't even considered how much the different ecosphere of China and all the regulations around that. It's like, oh, that's a new one. Yeah, I could see that being, adds 2 years, just baseline. Great. That could add to the frustration. So yes, go get some help, get some community, and click those links below. And hey, of course, while you're down there, a couple more buttons, hit that bell, hit that thumb, stay subscribed so you can stay informed of when the next Evolving ERP is coming out. So until then, I've been Ryan Daly for Judith O'Callahan and Sana Asher. We'll see you next time.
Powered by Insight Jam.